There's a question that seems simple, but it can completely change the purchasing decision of someone thinking about entering the world of electric cars. If Tesla can manufacture cheaper batteries, does that mean the driver will also pay less at the end of the month? The answer isn't as straightforward as many imagine. The 4680 battery truly represents an important evolution within Tesla's strategy, because it was designed to reduce complexity, cut production steps, and make electric cars more efficient from an industrial point of view. But there's a huge difference between the savings that appear within the factory and the savings that appear in the consumer's pocket. For a car manufacturer, saving a few dollars per cell, per module, or per process can make sense on a gigantic scale. For an average person, especially someone retired or living on a fixed income, what matters isn't the technological promise, but the monthly payment, insurance, recharging, maintenance, depreciation, and the peace of mind of knowing that the car won't become an expensive surprise in their budget. This is where the discussion gets more interesting, because many people look at the 4680 battery as if it will automatically transform a Tesla into a cheap car for everyone. However, a manufacturing innovation doesn't work like a magic discount at the dealership. Tesla can produce a battery with fewer parts, less waste, and greater efficiency. But that doesn't necessarily mean the final price of the vehicle will drop at the same speed. The company still needs to deal with profit margins, logistics, factory costs, raw materials, competition, market demand, and constant software and hardware updates. In other words, the battery may become cheaper to produce before the car becomes cheaper to buy. And this difference is exactly the point that many consumers miss, because the allure of technological novelty ends up hiding a much more practical question. How much will this vehicle really cost to maintain every month after it leaves the dealership? For those with retirement benefits, a fixed salary, or a tight budget, this question is worth more than any catchy headline. An electric car may promise fuel savings, fewer oil changes, and fewer moving parts. But the real cost doesn't end there. Consumers need to look at the total cost of ownership, which is basically everything they pay to own and use the car in the real world. This includes financing, insurance, electricity, tires, potential repairs, access to chargers, distance to service centers, and even daily usage. A Tesla that is more efficient internally may still be expensive externally if insurance costs increase too much, if installing a home charger is impractical, or if the person frequently relies on public charging. Battery technology helps, but it doesn't eliminate all the other costs that come with a modern, connected, and still relatively expensive car in many markets. This detail is even more important when considering older drivers, retirees, or people who simply cannot absorb an unexpected expense of hundreds of dollars a month. For this audience, the list price may be attractive, but what truly defines whether the purchase was smart is predictability. A car may seem affordable in advertising, but if the monthly insurance is high, if recharging at home requires expensive adaptation, or if any visit to the service center depends on a long trip, the promised savings begin to lose their impact. The retiree isn't just buying an advanced battery. They're buying a routine. They're buying trips to the market, doctor's appointments, family visits, short trips, emergencies, and the security of not seeing their budget strained because of something that only seemed economical on paper. Therefore, the 4680 battery needs to be viewed with balance. It may be an important piece in making Tesla more efficient, more competitive, and perhaps more capable of offering more affordable vehicles in the future. But it alone doesn't solve the consumer's financial life. Manufacturing may improve, engineering may advance, and internal costs may fall, but the purchase decision continues to depend on personal figures, not general promises. For those living on a fixed income, the smartest question is not just how much Tesla saves by producing this battery, but how much the car owner saves after paying for everything that comes with it. And when this calculation leaves the controlled environment of the factory and enters the garage of an ordinary person, The 4680 battery ceases to be just a technical innovation and becomes the beginning of a much more realistic analysis of what exists inside the car and what continues to weigh on it outside. This analysis becomes even clearer when you understand what the 4680 battery actually changes inside a Tesla. It's not just a battery with a different name or another technical detail to embellish a technology presentation. The number 4680 comes from its physical dimensions, approximately 46 millimeters wide by 80 millimeters high. It seems like a small detail, but it changes a lot in the vehicle's architecture. Compared to smaller cells used previously, the 4680 allows for storing more energy in fewer units, which reduces the number of cells needed within the battery pack. Fewer cells mean fewer connections, fewer intermediate components, fewer assembly steps, and, in theory, simpler production. For a company that manufactures cars on a large scale, simplifying each small step can represent a gigantic saving over thousands or millions of vehicles. The most interesting point is that this battery wasn't just created to store more energy. It was also designed to solve a problem that accompanies any powerful battery: heat. When a lot of energy enters and leaves a cell, the electric current needs to circulate efficiently. In traditional batteries, there are small metal tabs that conduct this current. In Tesla's proposal, the design known as tabless changes this internal path, allowing the current to be distributed more evenly. This can reduce resistance, decrease heating, and improve the overall efficiency of the cell. In simple terms, it's like replacing a narrow road with multiple lanes of traffic at the same time. Energy flows better, the system works with less effort, and the battery tends to operate more smoothly. This improved current distribution can also help with durability, because excessive heat is one of a battery's biggest enemies. The more a cell heats up uncontrollably, the greater the wear and tear can be over time. So, when engineering manages to reduce hot spots and make the electrical flow more efficient, it's not only improving immediate performance, but also trying to preserve the lifespan of the battery pack. This is important for any driver, but it's even more appealing to those who plan to keep the same car for many years. A battery that operates with less stress can age better, require fewer interventions, and maintain more stable range over time. However, this advantage needs to be understood within the context of the car, not as an automatic solution for all real-world costs. This is precisely where a lot of the confusion begins. The 4680 battery may make the vehicle simpler to manufacture, improve internal efficiency, and help Tesla reduce industrial costs, but it doesn't eliminate the external expenses the owner encounters after the purchase. It doesn't, on its own, reduce insurance costs, install a charger in the garage, change the price of energy in the region, bring distant technical assistance closer, and prevent tires, brakes, taxes, or fees from continuing to be part of the bill. The technology acts on the electric heart of the car, but the consumer's wallet feels the impact on the entire vehicle. Therefore, a real engineering improvement should not be confused with a guarantee of monthly savings. They are connected, but they are not the same thing. For the average consumer, especially one who needs predictability, the 4680 battery should be seen as an important piece of a larger puzzle. It helps explain why Tesla insists so much on simplifying its production and seeking more affordable cars, but it doesn't single-handedly answer whether that car fits within a family's or retiree's budget. The driver isn't just paying for the cell hidden in the vehicle's floor. They're paying for the entire ecosystem that comes with the car. And that detail changes everything, because the promise of a more efficient battery may sound very attractive. But the smart decision begins when that promise is placed alongside the expenses that usually stay out of the advertisements, out of the headlines, and often out of the conversation until the first bill arrives. It's precisely in this part that many videos about electric cars end up making the numbers look too good to be true. They show fuel savings, compare the cost per kilometer, and highlight that a Tesla may have fewer moving parts than a combustion engine car. All of this may be true, but it's still not the complete picture. The problem is that the driver doesn't live within a perfect spreadsheet. They live in a real city, with real insurance, real energy, real weather, real assistance, and expenses that appear month after month. For those who drive little, live in apartments, live in cold regions, or have a fixed income, these details can transform a promising savings into a much tighter budget than it seemed at the beginning. The first hidden cost often appears in the insurance. Electric cars, especially more technologically advanced models, can have higher premiums because repairs aren't always simple or cheap. Minor damage to a specific part can involve sensors, cameras, electronic modules, structural components, and specialized labor. This doesn't mean that every Tesla will be extremely expensive to insure everywhere, but it does mean that quotes need to be obtained before the purchase, not after. Many people only look at the car's price or fuel savings, but forget that insurance is a monthly or annual expense that can completely change the real cost of ownership. For a retiree, a seemingly small difference in insurance can add up significantly when combined with financing, energy, and other fixed household expenses. The second point is home charging, because a large part of the savings from electric cars depends on a very specific condition: charging overnight, using a home outlet or charger, paying a lower and more predictable energy tariff. However, not everyone has their own garage, a suitable electrical panel, or permission to install a charger. Those who live in apartments may depend on condominium rules, shared parking spaces, electrical work, or even the goodwill of the building management. And when the driver needs to use public chargers frequently, the savings can decrease significantly, in addition to creating another problem: time. Waiting to charge outside the home may be acceptable in some routines, but it can become a nuisance for those who need practicality, safety, and predictability in their daily lives. The third hidden cost appears when the temperature drops. In cold regions, especially below 4 degrees Celsius, the actual range of an electric car can decrease significantly. This happens because the battery needs to operate within a suitable temperature range, and some of the energy is used to heat the system itself and maintain cabin comfort. In practice, the impressive range figure advertised under ideal conditions may not be the same as what the driver will experience on a cold morning, with the heater on, a wet road, and tires facing greater resistance. For those who always make short trips, this may not be so alarming. But for those who live far from services, travel frequently, or don't have easy access to charging nearby, this loss can become an important factor in their decision. There's also the layer of subscriptions and digital features. A modern car doesn't end with the steering wheel, seats, and battery. It also comes with connectivity, updates, driver assistance packages, and features that may depend on recurring payments. Full self-driving, for example, often attracts a lot of attention because of its name and promise of advanced technology, but it shouldn't be treated as guaranteed savings. For many drivers, it will be more of an optional expense than a necessity. Premium connectivity may also seem cheap in isolation, but it falls into that list of small costs that accumulate over the year. When you add higher insurance, charging away from home, loss of range in cold weather, subscriptions, and potential repair costs, the efficient battery remains a technical advantage, but the consumer's budget begins to reveal a much less simple story. The difference between what is real engineering and what is still a commercial promise needs to be carefully separated. The 4680 battery is not a loose idea, nor an imaginary technology used only to attract attention. It exists, it has already entered production, and it has already been applied in real Tesla vehicles. The cells began to be produced in Texas and started appearing in versions of the Model Y, showing that the company managed to take part of this strategy from presentation to the factory. This is important because it takes the 4680 out of the realm of pure speculation. It is not just a pretty design on a screen, nor a distant laboratory promise. There is a concrete basis, with real cars using this technology. And this shows that Tesla has truly moved in a different direction from the traditional battery. But the fact that something is confirmed doesn't mean that everything around it is also solved. Producing a new cell on a large scale is one of the most difficult parts of the automotive industry, because it's not enough to make the technology work in a few units. It needs to work thousands of times, then millions of times, with consistent quality, controlled cost, and a sufficient pace to supply entire assembly lines. It is precisely at this point that the conversation becomes less glamorous and more realistic. Production of the 4680 has progressed, but not at the spectacular pace that many people expected when the technology was presented as a central piece for aggressively reducing costs. The battery exists, but scaling that battery to transform the final price of cars is a much more complicated story. This is also where the consumer needs to coldly examine the difference between manufacturing cost and selling price. Tesla may save on cells, structure, assembly, and internal processes, but these savings don't automatically translate into the buyer's pocket. Part of it may be used to protect margins, finance new factories, cover investments, offset fluctuations in raw material prices, or simply maintain competitiveness in an increasingly competitive market. The driver only sees the final price, the installment payment, the insurance, and the monthly cost. They don't have direct access to the company's internal savings. Therefore, even if the 4680 battery has the potential to reduce industrial costs, this cannot yet be treated as a guarantee that the consumer will immediately find a much cheaper Tesla on the market. This caution is especially important regarding the idea of a Tesla priced below $30,000. This type of promise is appealing because it directly addresses the dream of a truly affordable electric car, capable of reaching retirees, middle-income families, and people who currently see a Tesla as something out of reach. The problem is that, until this price point appears concretely, with an available model, clear specifications, sufficient production, and a confirmed final cost, it remains a projection. It might happen. It might be part of the company's strategy. It might even be linked to advancements in the 4680 battery and simplified manufacturing. But basing a current purchase on a car that isn't yet available at that price is a risky gamble, especially for those who can't afford to make mistakes with their budget. For those living on a fixed income, this distinction is essential. What is confirmed should outweigh what is promised. It is confirmed that Tesla is working with the 4680, that this cell represents a real engineering change, and that it has already been applied to existing vehicles. It is also clear that translating this technology into a broad, visible, and immediate drop in the final price is not yet guaranteed for the consumer. Someone thinking about changing cars shouldn't base their decision solely on what might become cheaper in the future, but on what they can afford today, with today's real costs. And when the conversation moves from the promise of an affordable Tesla to the practical life of someone who needs to protect every portion of their budget, the decision begins to depend on much more concrete personal figures. From this point on, the decision is no longer about the brilliance of the technology, but about 5 personal numbers